What's up, YouTube? It's JP here with Merc Trades. I'm going to go over a detailed AMC charting here and some of my price predictions. So I didn't do the wave count on this side just because it's on so many of my other charts. I'm sure you've all seen it. If you haven't, shoot me a comment in the section below and I'll put one up. But here's the corrective wave count. So it's an ABCDE correction, and then we just saw wave 1. And now, 5 days ago, I pulled up a post of exactly kind of how this would play out. I said, oh shit, that's our A down. I said we'd come back up and touch 50. We actually didn't touch 50, but it's a range. We hit 49, 48.62. And then I said C would pivot down in this zone. I haven't changed this chart at all. And what you can see is it kind of did exactly that. So let's go through real quick how I do that. An ABC correction is the most common corrective pattern in the market, and it's kind of always how it pans out for wave 2 in any stock's degree. So this is Elliot wave theory. So we saw our wave 1 push, so we're going to do a Fib retracement. This time we're going to go low to high on it. And the reason for this is we want to see how far down it goes. So we're going to grab our Fib retracement here, and we're going to go low to high. And wherever we find that high, perfect. Now this will show us where the 61.2 retrace is, because that's going to be exactly where it tends to bounce almost every single time for wave 2. And as you can see, if we expand this out a little bit, the stock did bounce almost exactly off of the 61.8 retrace. It's generally speaking going to be the 50 or the 61.8 retrace with a decrease in volume. So we saw all of that. So I hadn't updated my AMC charting for almost a week because people don't like to hear bearish predictions. I put it out there. No one liked it. I'll put the post up in a second, but yeah, this is kind of exactly what I saw panning out. And then from here, though, we can start to expect to see wave 3. So we're going to put a text note in here and write 2. So 2 should be completely over. And that means that we should start to see some serious pushes back. Now, let's just be realistic. We'll activate this over a little bit. Because the whole market's at a discount right now, it might actually hurt us a little bit. And what I mean by that is investors who are looking to buy a company who aren't apes, they might buy Nvidia or Microsoft. Well, it's at a 1 or 2% discount rather than jumping into AMC at our 20% discount. But from here, because we saw such a decrease in volume from the big push up, what one can assume is that this has just been shorted to oblivion. And what that means, right, what they ended up doing was they put the stock into a very low implied volatility state with a bunch of short positions that they need to cover. Now, this is perfect for a whale or a large institution to start switching long, buying the derivative chain while the implied volatility is low and the stock's in the buyer side of the market at a support. And then the stock should see some big pushes up. And the reason for that is the delta hedging that will occur by the market makers. And what I mean by that is if you're buying calls in the money that are a couple months out, like these institutions do, and you're selling puts that are at the money, this puts a lot of pressure on the options market makers to stay delta neutral. How they do this is they have to buy shares to accommodate for the institutions going long. Now let's stem back into what just happened, right? So we can assume that lots of institutions, now that we're at this firm level, right, and we're starting to bottom out, are going to switch long in the derivative chain. What this does, right, we just went over this, the market makers, totally different entity, the options chain market makers will buy stock to accommodate for that derivative chain pressure. Now, all this meanwhile, right, the implied volatility is going to rise. there's going to be a gamma squeeze, and while all of this happens, the entire stock will start to squeeze anyone who just went short here. Remember, there's a lot more buying than there is selling. So this is a very big overreaction, but that's what you expect for wave 2. If you read into Elliott wave theory, this is very expected. It's the bloodiest correction, and then from here we'll get the strongest push out, which is wave 3, which should eventually lead us to an all-time high. Now that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? But the only concern I have right now is that the entire market is at a discount. And what I mean by that, we just went over this, is people might not buy AMC today. They might wait for all the other stocks to get bought back, or wait for the Fed talk, which is going on today, to come out. But to reiterate everything, you can kind of gauge the ABC correction by, first thing you're going to do is a high to the low from the Fib Retrace, and you're going to see if it pivoted in the zone that I have highlighted, which is the 50% to the 85% retrace of wave A. Now if it does, you can label this wave B like we did. And then from here, you're going to draw the length of A from the top of B, and that'll put us down to pretty much where C is expected to pivot. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the Fib retrace from the low to the high of the entire wave 1. So this is wave 1. You can go through and do your minor count if you'd like. This is wave 1, so low to the high, and then all the way down, right? So you do low to the high, and that'll give us this Fib retrace down here. And then for wave 2, we can expect it to pivot at the 50 to the 61.8 retrace mark, exactly like it did. So from here, we can start to anticipate that there's going to be a big push up. And this is why I was such a high conviction in my 42 call that I put out yesterday, which expires October 1st, is because the implied volatility was so low that the call pricing was dirt cheap. And this is relative to AMC, not relative to other stocks. But the call pricing was dirt cheap compared to what it usually is. Plus, we're in the buyer's side of the market at an expected pivot zone. So that's why I put out that play and said it was extremely high conviction, and I didn't even put a stop loss on it. We did end up closing the play over 10% in the green, and I swung it through the night. And if you take a look at the after hours here, let me pull up our extended hours. If you look at the after hours here, we're already up to 41, and that's at the top of this zone. So from here, right, we can expect possibly a small dip down in the morning, but then a continuation back to the fill this gap. So we're looking for a gap fill at 44.22, and that's probably where I'll exit my position and then wait for a dip to enter something out of the money. This is how you ride the waves with the options chain, is you recognize where you are in the stock. Now that I think we're entering back into a bullish push, I'm going to start playing options on AMC. I don't do anything crazy like going 1 week, the 145 calls. That's not how I trade options. What I do is slightly out of the money, and I buy them when the stock's in a minor ABC. So you can see this almost everywhere. You'll see ABC corrections on all the fractals. You can gauge one, and C is going to be your best entrance always. So I entered here at C. We did dip down lower than I thought. But we actually ended the day green because the implied volatility started to come back. So for tomorrow, or for today, I expect to see volume increase as the market makers start to delta hedge. I expect to see institutions going long, and I expect to see the shorts begin to cover as we break over this 44.22 mark, which means I think that this will be an impulse back to the 47.25 mark. All right, that is all I have for us on AMC today. I do want to keep it short just because I know people don't like too long of videos, but congratulations for anyone who took that trade. I do post all my AMC trades for free on my Twitter, and I tend to be pretty accurate with my AMC charting. Feel free to check out my old chart. I posted it about a week ago. It did the entire ABC as I predicted, and then from here we can start to anticipate that wave 3 will happen. All right, everyone, cheers. Best of luck for today. Have a wonderful trading day. Let's bank.